Welcome back to the Synergistic Edge, where high performers win everywhere. I'm your host, Coach Alvey Thompson, and today in this first episode, I want to talk about the hidden cost of success. So the reason why this is such an important topic to me is because I don't know how it is for you, but I know for me coming up, success looked very specific ways, and I'll talk about it through the lens of being a man. So when I was a little kid, the way that success looked was how good were my grades and how good was I in my sports. And this carried on through elementary school, middle school, and then like middle school, getting into high school. It is how good are my grades, how good are the sports, and then how many girls can I get? And that pretty much lasted from middle school, high school, college, and even young adulthood. And then once I graduated from college, success was really defined by my job, my career, how I get my first career and how I climb the ladder. And ultimately, I would assume that it's very much like that for you as well. Whether you're a man or a woman, these days we do see that the definition of success is typically limited to our financial achievements. It's limited to what we're doing in our industry, how we are climbing the ladder, how we are innovating, how we are being a great team member. And while I think that all of those things are very important, what's missing from that definition of success is our health and our families. And this is why I call it the hidden cost of success. So now I'm in my late 30s, which is crazy to say or crazy to think about, but I'm 37 now. And a lot of the high performers that I work with and I've worked with in the past were somewhere in their either early 30s upwards into their 50s. And the common theme that I found in all of them is that they traded their health and their relationships in order to get to their level of quote unquote success, which was basically being great in their career. And what all of my clients realize is that it's not a big deal until it is. So what does it look like when you're trading in your health for your career success? Some of the symptoms include weight gain. Your shirts probably aren't fitting the same. You probably don't like how you're looking in the mirror. You probably have tighter clothes now, or maybe you had to replace your clothes. Another symptom is you've lost a lot of muscle mass. The same muscle that you might have had in your 20s has now disappeared as you got into your 30s, 40s, and 50s. Another huge one is chronic fatigue. You probably find yourself constantly tired. And here's the thing. There's a distinction between something being normal and something being common. A lot of high performers that I talk to, especially before we work together, they think it's normal that they're so tired because they look around and everyone else is tired. All of their peers are tired. All of their clients are tired. So they think that this is just how it is. And the reality is, it's not normal. As human beings, God did not design us to be tired all the time. But it's not normal, it's actually common, meaning we see a lot of people around us who are experiencing that. And because we see it around us, we just think that, hey, this is how it is. But I'm here to tell you, that's not how it has to be. Another huge symptom is unmanaged high levels of stress. Again, when you're a high performer, when you have a lot of responsibilities, when you have a ton on your plate, of course, there's going to be a level of mental stress that accompanies that. The deadlines, the expectations, the clients, all of it. But the problem is too many of you are allowing your stress to be super high without ever bringing it down. And here's the problem. As human beings, we're meant to hold and be able to hold a lot of stress, but not constantly, not chronically. And the thing is, when we hold on to that stress for too long, that leads to burnout and a host of other symptoms that we're going to talk about deeper into this podcast. And if you're somebody that has a family or you have a lot of friends, this one might resonate with you. Another huge one I see is being disconnected with your loved ones, whether this is your husband, your wife, your friends, your family, kids, whoever it is. Oftentimes there's this disconnection with loved ones because of all of the mental and emotional baggage that comes with the stress that we have at work. And if we don't have a way to manage it or we don't have a way to cleanly disconnect from work and that work stress, we end up bringing that with us home. And as a result, We can't have the same level of relationship. We can't have the same level of conversations. We can't have the same level of presence with those that we love, which ends up being a huge problem. And finally, the last huge symptom I see is toxic habits. I've worked with dozens of high performers who manage their stress through alcohol. They need to have a certain amount of drinks at night just to take the edge off so that they feel like they are better equipped to handle tomorrow's stress and tomorrow's work. Or maybe they want to smoke weed to make sure that the edge comes down. And I'm not here to say that all those things are quote unquote bad, but we have to understand, why are we using specific tools for specific reasons? So if we are drinking to manage stress, it's not going to be ideal because you're putting more stress on top of stress. Alcohol stresses your body. It stresses your system. It negatively impacts your sleep. So maybe in the moment you think that it's managing your stress, and maybe it is giving that short-term gratification, but it always shows back up the next day in the form of brain fog or other bodily symptoms that you might experience. Some of these toxic habits might include doom scrolling. Do you find yourself constantly scrolling on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever it is, just to get your mind off of whatever you're working on? Again, I'm not saying that all these social media tools are terrible or bad for you, but you got to understand, what are you using it for? Are you using it to escape? Are you using it to completely decompress? And if you find yourself on the social media platforms often, and then right when you finish, you kind of feel either more anxious or you just feel a little icky or whatever it is, that's your body telling you like, hey, like we can't keep doing it in this type of way. So I want you to think and reflect for a moment. Do you find that you suffer from any of these symptoms of trading in your health for your career success? Are you not quite happy with how your body looks? Do you find that you don't have great energy or that you are chronically fatigued? Do you find that you're using specific toxic habits in order to try to decompress, but deep down, you know it's not super effective? And here's the thing. Not only do these toxic habits or these different types of symptoms hurt our performance or they hurt our relationships, but they actually have a deeper negative consequence, especially as it pertains to our health. Here's some statistics that I found that really talk about the problem that this causes. So according to the World Health Organization, 9 out of 10 executives admit that their health is struggling because of stress. Not only does this impact your physical capacity, but it also affects your mental and your emotional capacity. And when all three of those things aren't clicking in the right direction, you could potentially be leaving literally millions, if not billions of dollars on the table in your business. And understand, ignoring your health does not just mean weight gain. According to the CDC, unhealthy weight gain can potentially double your risk of the lifestyle diseases that cause your career, if not your life, to potentially be cut short. So when you feel like your clothes aren't fitting right, or you look in the mirror and you don't really like what you're seeing there, understand it's not just the weight gain, but this is literally a telltale sign that you might be setting yourself up for having diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, stroke, different types of cancers. And oftentimes, people don't do anything about this until it's too late, until they get the diagnosis, until their doctor tells them that they need to go on all these medications. Understand, we don't have to wait and be reactive on these things, but these are things that we can actually be proactive on and ensure that we're in a position to not fall victim to these same things that we see happening all the time. Another statistic from Deloitte shows that about 1 out of 3 executives are struggling with their mental health and fatigue. Again, the pressures of work, the lack of a system, not taking care of the high priorities of health that would help actually boost performance is what's causing us to be constantly tired, constantly fatigued, and mentally be declining. And the last stat that I want to talk about really speaks into how our families are the ones who constantly get the leftovers. According to the Harvard Business Review, about 1 out of 2 people already complain that stress is negatively impacting some of their closest relationships. I remember having a conversation with a friend of mine who is a founder, high-level executive at their company, and he told me the situation that he was going through. And this situation is something that other of my clients have also went through. And it's this. He was pouring so much energy into his clients, into his colleagues, into all of the people that worked under him. And what he was finding is that he would pour so much energy in that by the time he got home, he was dead tired. And when he got home, his wife and his daughter wanted nothing more but to spend time with him. And what he was realizing is that he wasn't able to truly be present with them. He wasn't able to spend the time with his wife. He wasn't able to sit there and play with his daughter in such a way where she really felt his energy and felt him being completely engaged with him. And it wasn't until his wife pulled him to the side and told him, like, hey, we're just getting the leftovers. That really hit him in his heart. And from that day on, he looked at himself in the mirror and he decided, hey, I need to make a change. Because the reason why I'm working so hard at work is so that I can provide for my wife and for my daughter. And it really changed how he started to show up and realizing how important it was for him to do things to increase his mental, emotional, and physical capacity so he could have the energy to not only be successful and crush it at work, but to ensure that he had enough energy to show his love for his wife and his kid. And it's been a game changer for him. And that's something that I work with my clients closely on, is understanding, hey, we need to have the energy and the bandwidth, not just at work, but also at home. But if we don't have the health, it's so hard to constantly fill our cup and make sure that we have stuff running over that we can give to everyone that needs us at home and in the workplace. So here's my question for you. What's your current definition of success? And I'm curious, are you open to redefining that definition of success to include your health and your relationships? I think one of the biggest misconceptions out there is that you can only have one or the other. You can only have a great career or you can only have great health. And that somehow if you work on your health, that is going to take away from the performance and the success that you've been having at work. But I'm here to tell you, I have had dozens of clients who have not only made their health a priority and gotten more energy, better bodies, have felt so much better about who they are, but they've actually started performing even better at work. Because we all know how it is when you're a high performer. The reward for doing good work is more work. So we understand that this loop of being very successful in the workplace just causes you to have more responsibilities. But the way that you work through that in an effective and efficient way is by truly maximizing your health, focusing on how you're eating, how you're recovering, how you're sleeping, how you're supplementing, how you're taking time for introspection, how you're taking time for your family, for your own hobbies. All of this plays a huge role in your success in the workplace. And that's something that we're going to be talking about at length on the Synergistic Edge. One thing I want you to realize is that you are potentially at what I call the fork in the road. And there's two different sides. You can go left or you can go right. In this case, right now, to the left is steep decline. If you don't consciously and intentionally decide to work on your health, decide to make that thing a priority, what's going to happen with this steep decline is that you're going to continue to gain weight. You're going to continue to be extremely tired. You're going to continue to put your family to the side. You're going to continue to put yourself to the side. And you're setting yourself up to be in a position where you're going to be like most standard Americans. You're going to need to be on some type of medication. You're going to be on pills for life. And I'm not saying this to be dramatic. This is simply the facts. If nothing changes, if nothing improves, you are literally just going to get even more of what you've already gotten. And if you know that you're the person who doesn't want that, we get to look to the other side. We have to look to the right. And what's on that other side of the road? That's where great health and vitality lives. Being able to have the energy to crush it at work. Being able to have the energy to play with your kids when you get home. To have the energy and presence to be there with your wife. To be truly proud of who you see in the mirror. To be the type of person that shows up for their health consistently. All of that is available to you. But you have to consciously decide to take that right-hand turn and go down that path of great health and great vitality, and understand it's only going to make your work performance better. And I get it. You might be listening to this and you might have tried a bunch of different diets, different training programs. Heck, you might have even hired a personal trainer and realize that none of those things got you the results that you're looking for. I want to assure you This is not because you are lazy or that you lack discipline, but instead you actually lack a system that fits your actual life. You lack a system that fits your schedule that is very hectic at work and at home. Those other things failed because they just give you a list of things to do. And you know how it is. The minute that your schedule changes or life gets hectic, all those things just get thrown out the window and you're in survival mode. And typically when we're in survival mode, the number one focus is just work. And I get it. It's not your fault. That's the way society has built us up to be. But I want you to understand there is a way to fix it. And it's through having a system. A system is always what's going to work. And when you have this system has to be sustainable. A big problem that I see with so many of the different programs that are out there, and don't get me wrong, there are great coaching programs out there. But the problem with 90% of the programs that are out there is that they're all built on these ideal conditions. They're built on the assumption that you have 15 hours a week to get to the gym and to get your groceries and to do all these things. When in reality, you have a small period of time that you can actually fit these specific things in. And instead of looking for ideal conditions, it's about making sure that your system allows you to have a great floor. Meaning, if you only have 2.5 hours a week to train, you should be able to maximize those 2.5 hours. If you only have an hour and a half a week to meal prep, then hey, we should be able to take that 90 minutes and be able to get as much great food as possible. Understand, when you have the right system in place, it is a complete game changer. And sometimes we actually have to do less or we have to slow down in order to speed up. But I can't wait to get into our next episode where I'm going to talk you through the synergistic method. And the synergistic method is designed for high performers just like you to have a system that fits your real life, that understands you have a hectic schedule, that you have a lot on your plate, that you don't have plenty of time to do all of these different things. And I'm going to show you exactly how you can take different pieces of the synergistic method and apply it right away so that you can have better energy, a better body, look, feel, and perform your best at home and in the workplace. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you tapping in with me at the Synergistic Edge. If any of this resonated with you, please be sure to share this with someone who you know can use this information. And I want to let you know that the information alone isn't enough. There's a distinction between knowledge and wisdom. And I don't think you have any shortage of knowledge. Of course, you know what to do. But the reason you might not be doing it is because you don't know how to fit it into your schedule in such a way where it makes sense, where it can happen consistently. And that's what we're going to start tapping into in the next episode, is how do you apply wisdom to the synergistic method and allow this to be something that you do day in and day out so that you can ultimately redefine success and have success at work and at home. So let me know your thoughts on this. Does this resonate? Does this make sense? Is this applicable to your life? Are there certain symptoms that you find going on consistently? Take some time to reflect. Take some time to journal and see, are you currently winning at home and at work? Are you currently having a definition for success that includes your health and your relationships? Or do you have the limited belief that in order to have better success in your health is going to require some type of sacrifice from your work performance? If you have any specific questions, feel free to leave comments here. I read all of them, or feel free to send me a DM on Instagram at Alvey Thompson. Appreciate your time. Appreciate you tapping in, and I'll see you at the next episode of the Synergistic Edge. Peace.